Okay, this time we're taking an equation and we're going to write it into y equals mx plus b form. It's a little bit different, okay? The main rule is we have to isolate the y. It's all about the y. So y is on this side of the equation. It has multiplication by 2 and a minus 6. You can make it plus negative. Now, we have to get the y by itself. So we get rid of this negative 6 with plus 6, but it can't go with the 3 because 3 is multiplied by x. The 6 is not. So I create my own term here without an x, and it would be 0, and then plus 6. So we have 2 times y. Put your x first, always, and then 0 plus 6 makes 6. Now we divide all of this by 2. Oh yeah, by the way, a rule I forgot to mention. When you mark your multiplication operation, it has to be by a positive on the y. And it was, so I was good. So these cancel. 3 divided by 2 is a decimal, so I leave it as 3 over 2. No decimals. If you get a decimal, you need to leave it as a fraction. Then 6 divided by 2 is 3. And now I have y, mx, and b. Okay, example 2, 3y plus 6 equals negative 2x. So y is on this side, its multiplier is a 3, so highlight that. It's positive 3, so check. If it's negative, we got to do something, but it's positive. So I subtract 6. Now 6 can't go with negative 2 because negative 2 has an x. So I bring my own number here without an x, should be 0. So now I have 3 times y, and then negative 2x. 0 minus 6 would be negative 6, so plus negative 6. Then we divide everything by 3. Just trust me, you need that multiplier as positive. Negative 2 divided by 3 is a decimal, so I'm going to keep that negative 2/3 x. Negative 6 divided by 3 is negative 2. The reason why you can't have a decimal is because when you graph these, you're never going to be able to graph the slope with a decimal. Okay, I want to keep that as a ratio. Okay, y equals negative 2/3 x plus negative 2. Example 3, 18x minus 3y equals 15. So, it's all about the y, okay? Y has a multiplier of 3. Now, since it's a minus 3, it's actually a negative 3 multiplier. Having a negative y multiplier when trying to find the slope is not a good thing, okay? If you have a negative, you have to apply something known as the opposite rule. Okay? Opposite rule is where I go through the equation and make everything opposite. So the opposite of 18 is negative 18. The opposite of negative 3 is positive 3. Don't go plus negative, it just becomes positive 3. Opposite of positive 15 is negative. Now, I'm on this side. I get rid of the negative 18x with plus 18x. But I don't have an x over there, so I need to create a number this time that's multiplied by x, and you guessed it, it's 0x. So I plus 18x. So we have 3 times y. Do your x first. You can't put the negative 15 before the x. So it's going to be 18x plus negative 15. Then I divide everything by 3. 18 divided by 3 is 6x. Negative 15 divided by 3 is negative 5. So, MB, now you got it. That's why your y has to be isolated. Example 4, we have 4x plus 3y equals 2x minus 12. So separate the side with the y. It's got a multiplier of 3. It's positive 3, so you can check that. You don't have to do the opposite rule. Minus 4x, and I think I have a number over there that has an x, so I would subtract 4x. So we have 3 times y. 2 minus 4 is negative 2x, and then just minus 12, or you can do plus negative on your 12. Now divide everything by 3. Negative 2 divided by 3 is a decimal, so I keep it negative 2/3 x. Negative 12 divided by 3 is negative 4. So you got M and B. Okay, example 5. 2x plus 6y equals 12. Okay, here's the y. It's multiplied by 6, and it's a positive 6, so check it. So you subtract 2x. Oh, I don't have an x there. Well, I'm going to make a number that has an x. 0x minus 2x. You can make your own term as long as it's 0. 0 minus 2 is negative 2x, because 0 has no value. You're really not changing the equation. You just need it to line up. And then plus the 12. You got to put the x, then the constant. So I divide everything by 6. Negative 2 divided by 6 is a decimal, so I'm going to keep that negative 26x. 12 divided by 6 is 2. Okay. M. B. Now you could reduce the negative 26. You don't have to do this, but if you look at a multiplication table, those are both in the second row. All the other ones I did before are just in the first row. So that would be negative 1/3. You could also write y equals negative 1/3 times x plus 2. Okay. You could reduce that if you want. You don't really need to, but it's up to you. I didn't do that on the others because they were just first row. 2y plus 7 equals 3x. Okay. So here's y. It's multiplied by 2. It's positive. You always got to locate the y. So no opposite rule. Minus 7. Now 7 was a constant. When I say it's a constant, it means it doesn't have an x or a variable. Okay. It's not multiplied by a variable. Then I can't go here because that has an x, so I make my own constant number here of 0, and then I minus 7. So 2 times y, you got to put the x first, then 0 minus 7 is negative 7. You can make it plus negative if you want. Then divide everything by 2. 3 divided by 2 is a decimal, so I keep it 3/2. Negative 7 divided by 2 is a decimal, so I'm going to keep that negative 7/2. Now, if you had to graph, you would want to end up dividing the b into a decimal, but we're not. The m cannot be a decimal. You do not want that. I mean, it can be, it just makes it hard for what we're doing next. Okay, 5x minus 2y equals 12. Okay, so here's y. It's multiplied by 2, actually a negative 2 because it's a minus. You do not want the y multiplier as a negative, okay? So you have to apply the opposite rule. So the opposite of 5 is negative 5. The opposite of negative 2 is positive 2, not plus negative 2. Opposite of 12 is negative 12. So then we add 5x. Then we make a 0x and add a 5x to 0x. So you got 2 times y. Put your x first, and 0 plus 5 is 5. Then plus the negative 12. And you divide all this by 2, because it's the y you're trying to get rid of the operations. 5 divided by 2 is a decimal, so I'm keeping that as 5/2x. Negative 12, the x needs to be there, it doesn't just go away. Negative 12 divided by 2 is negative 6. So M, B. Okay, example 8. 3x plus 4y equals negative 3x plus 12. Okay, so it's all about the y. You see all those letters, you're just focusing on the y. It's multiplied by 4 and it's positive, so check. Minus your 3x, and this time I have an x to put it under. Okay, I don't need to make a 0x when there's already an x over there for it to go with, a like term. Negative 3 minus 3 is negative 6x. It's not 0. Let me explain why it's not 0. If I'm at negative 3 and I'm minus 3, I'm going 3 this way. So it'd be negative 4, negative 5, negative 6. Okay, that's y. Plus 12. Divide by 4. So y. Negative 6 divided by 4 is a decimal, so keep it negative 6/4 x. 12 divided by 4 is 3. Now, this one, like this one up top, you can circle that, and that can be your answer, and I'll give you the full credit. You can also take that negative 6/4 and reduce it because they're both in row 2. So it could go to negative 3/2. Okay. M